Knock, knock.
Hey, Eddie.
Hey, Rev. What's up, guys?
The dogs are going to be in your way as usual.
Oh, that's all right. Say hello. How you doing, brother?
I'm okay.
Great to see you.
You seem to have got taller.
Nah, just standing up straighter.
Everybody gets taller except me in this world.
The world just ain't beating me down like it used to these days, you know?
Hey, well, you've been busy, yeah?
I've been trying to be. Keep me out of trouble that way.
So you've been in LA for a little while?
I've been here for about a week, working on some stuff, yeah.
Okay.
Playing a few shows and working on a record for Mozzie D.
Okay. And you have that new residency that you're doing at the Redwood?
Down at the Redwood, yeah, me and the Blue Ribbon Boys and Grey Delisle. And then we're trying to have guests, come down every week or every month and join us. Yeah.
Sounds really good. You know, this is our fifth little thing like this.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll change it up a little bit and we start off, maybe if you don't mind singing one of your own songs.
Sure, I could do that. I put out an album a while back called Sometimes It Rains.
Did anyone buy it?
No, I still got boxes of them in my garage. That's why I want to play this song, so maybe I could sell one.
Sell one. Isn't it crazy? You put out, 1,000 copies and you now have 1,500?
It's weird how that works. Somehow, they started sending them back before I even shipped them out.
It's very bizarre.
That's the way it goes. But they make great coasters, and you know what? I just keep giving them to family members on the holidays.
Yeah,
so
they keep giving them back.
They're giving them right back next year. Yeah.
That's cool.
My birthday's coming up. I'm sure there's going to be some copies for me.
Good stuff. So let's hear it.
I'll give it a shot. All right. Let's see. I'm going to try and pick it on here for you best I can. Sometimes love can be fickle or strange. Sometimes a heart just might seem to bend and change. Just when you think you've seen the last of your woes and pains. Well, that's when sometimes it rains. You might find love in the flash of a smile. Well, you might even make it all right for a little while. But just quick as she comes, she goes, and your broken heart remains. And now you know, sometimes it rains. Let your lonesome tears rain down, they won't put out the torch that burns. Storms are always sure to follow a heart that just won't learn. Sometimes it rains. Well, let your lonesome tears rain down, they won't put out the torch that burns. Storms are always sure to follow a heart that just can't learn. Sometimes it rains. You can't tell me your clouds are followed by the sun, and there's a rainbow waiting for you after all of this hurting's done. Well, you can gamble your heart on love over and over again. And even if you win, sometimes it rains. There it is.
Fabulous. So you said that was released on an album?
I put that out 2015, I think that one came out.
Was that a CD or vinyl?
Came out on illustrious compact disc, yeah.
Oh, wow. One of those historic things.
That's right. It's vintage now.
That's cool. So what was that CD called?
Sometimes It Rains. That was the title track.
Did you self-finance that?
I did. I did that one all myself.
Okay. Are the copies still in existence?
We were joking earlier, but I sold out. The way it is now, I'm focusing on getting the new project out before I repress into the old stuff. But it'll be ready, back available soon.
Okay, just in case somebody, I don't know who the fuck it might be, watches this.
Stores have it. Yeah, I mean, some of the online retailers and stuff have it. But I personally don't have any more copies.
Okay. So, actually, it was a very positive sign today because last week when we were recording the Marlene thing, May liked one song and stayed around and then left.
Just bolted.
So this time she watched the whole song. So she was into. I mean, the thing is,
I even saw a little tippy tap.
Well, we both noticed that with the ladies, you're like a magnet. A magnet. And so even May May was impressed.
You mean when you flip the magnets the other way and the one shoots off that way? Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Once they talk to me,
that's the way it goes. So Eddie, you live in Vegas right now, yeah?
If you call that living, yeah.
That's very true.
That is where I am, yeah.
We've talked about it before. Vegas in the daytime is one of my least favorite cities in the world. But
yeah, I just try to stay in the house during the day.
That's the way to do it. But you're not from Vegas?
No, I'm from Denver, Colorado originally.
Okay.
But, I've lived all over, as you know.
Yeah. So I think I met you, I know it was about 22 years ago, because I gauge everything pre-Hayden. So Hayden's 20 this year, and it was at least, actually it might even be longer.
I know when I met you. You booked me a show on my first tour ever.
The DeMarco's 23
Back in 1999, I believe that was. Yeah.
Fucking hell, we don't look old enough.
Even longer than 22, yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
I'll be, coming up next year will be 30 years I've been doing the Blue Ribbon Boys.
Wow. Yep. Wow, that's crazy.
It feels like so much longer sometimes when I think about it.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
Especially when I try to stand up, yeah.
Yeah, but I remember, how old were you then?
About 14.
Wow.
When I first started coming around. 13, 14 when me and my old friends first started the little garage version of the band.
So that band that played in the Bay Area that time?
Yeah, that was Mike Molnar and Kurt Olin that were with me on that.
Okay.
Still do. We were doing the drumless trio thing again.
Yeah, so that's a long time.
Pre-Belfieries, Mike Molnar. Now everybody knows him from working with Joey and the Belfieries. Yeah. Young, we were roommates. We worked at a candle factory together, and we played in a bunch of bands together. And that was my first tour out of Colorado.
Okay, yeah. I actually do remember it very well.
Yeah.
What I remember about it, bizarre, it's old age, was it was freezing cold.
Yes, it was.
Because I remember coming out of the venue, waving you off, and freezing my fucking balls off.
Yep.
So
I remember the fog when we were driving up there too. Yeah, you could hardly see a thing.
Right. So, long time ago. Now, what's interesting to me, we're friends for many different reasons. One of them is, your commitment to being the artist that you are is an amazing thing. And for me, I guess with the label, I'm used to seeing our artists be very young and going, watch them grow up.
Yeah.
And of course, you have always been an honorary wild recording artist.
I've always felt part of the family.
Yeah.
And you guys have always done a good job of making me feel part of the family.
Yeah, because I think it's crazy. Over all these years, we just released the magnificent Darlene 45.
Right.
And both sides of that record.
One of my favorite things I've ever done.
Well, and I got to admit, I love that record. And,
thank you.
In Europe, a lot of people, they claim to like the original.
Sure.
And to me, the original is okay. But I think our version is so much fucking better. I really do. I think your vocal on it, superb.
I really appreciate superb. That. I don't dare to say that I surpassed the original, but what I do like about my version is that lady is not chirping through the whole song.
Absolutely.
That's the one thing that ruins the original for me.
I agree.
If they would have just left her off, that would have been
it would have been
record.
much better.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. You're an honorary wild artist, and you're very much part of the family. You've been to the house many, many times. It makes me laugh. 2 years ago when you came, you remember, for the Christmas party?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I'm reminiscing here because Eddie sat at the table with Jenny, Kevin O'Leary.
That's right.
And they drank 2 bottles of Japanese fucking vodka. So
the way it goes, man. Sometimes it goes down smooth. You can't help but get in there.
It does make me laugh because Jenny never takes time off work.
Yeah.
She didn't go to work for a week. She was so
Sorry,
messed
Jenny.
up.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry.
That was a great night. But we've had many pleasant nights like that.
Absolutely.
But going back to the beginning, having you played out the early stuff and then watching the transitions. I remember you playing at Rodolfo's later.
Yeah.
When I think at the time you were doing more 60s rock and roll stuff, which I know we both loved.
Absolutely, yeah.
And then, of course, you've stayed very true to the original roots. Which
That's just kind of always where my head's been. Even before I picked up a guitar, as a little guy, I collected all the early blues and rockabilly stuff. It was just a fluke that I even started playing it at all. Just some other friends of mine had the band kind of for fun in the garage. And I was over there hanging out one day, and they were like, what do you think? And I was like, y'all are not so good.
Yeah.
I could do better.
Good.
As a joke, And then they're like, "Well, do it then," So I went home and I dug a guitar.
And you did it better.
I dug a guitar out of the closet. I went back and I played them. I learned 2 songs: "Folsom Prison Blues" and "One Cup of Coffee and a Cigarette." And then I wrote my own lyrics to "One Cup of Coffee," and so I played all that for them. And then they said, "Hey, you want to join the band?" And so that was it. And then we started booking gigs and playing VFW halls and American Legions. And I got better, and the guys, one of them went to school, one of them carried on, but this was all I wanted to do once I got a taste for it, and so I kind of had to throw myself all in.
Was there a period when you listened to music that wasn't rock and roll music?
Oh, my whole life. I still, every day from childhood on, I've always had a pretty diverse taste. This is just the thing that, feels like it's a part of my DNA. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I love classical music, old school hip hop. I grew up on Digital Underground and Ghetto Boys and things like that too. I grew up in a little hoodie area, and
Good. Yeah.
So I've been exposed to all that, and I love it so much. One of my favorite shows I've ever been to was a Digital Underground concert. It's so much fun. I love a lot of the folky singer-songwriter stuff. I love ballad music and bolero music. I'm kind of all over the map. When I'm alone, I put on a lot of different stuff.
Well, and that's very important to this thing that we're doing, this little thing we're doing with everybody, is that we want to show everybody who might have an interest in what we are and you are, that we're not one-dimensional. I mean, I'm the same as you know, in my house, it can be anything that you're going to hear. And I think for the progression of rock and roll and for the progression of the rock and roll scene, which is dying, the only way it cannot die is if firstly, people focus on original artists.
Absolutely.
And I think, which is, again, why I have a lot of respect for you, is that you write so much great original material. And also the fact that you are influenced by all genres of music, because I think sometimes there's always a question to, well, why are there no young people coming into the scene? And one of the things is, if they look on the outside, they think this is all old fuckers, you know? Sure. And that can't be the case. It just can't.
I mean, we talked about this a million times, but the thing that's always kind of drawn me to what you're doing with Wild, with the label and how you foster the young talent, it's exactly that. We got to bring the new blood in. We got to help them. We got to, do whatever we can to take these new points of view, these new opinions, these new sounds, these new ideas, and bring them in. Otherwise, we are just going to be a bunch of crusty old fuckers dusting off our 45s from 40, 50, 60, 70 years ago and complaining about how things aren't as good as they used to be. But rock and roll is, and always has been, the music of the young. So if you don't get that young spirit in there, it's going to die.
It's true. And the other thing, referencing, what rock and roll was supposed to be about, was it was never supposed to be safe music.
Not at all.
And one of the things that concerns myself, and we've talked about it before, is that we're seeing a lot of, especially in Europe at the moment, and I have to reference Europe because I'm European, and also the scene predominantly is European. But in Europe, you've got a lot of sound-alikes. You've even got Elvis Presley impersonators who are headlining at festivals, which is so bizarre. And then you have, and I know we both agree on this, you have so many fucking bands who are all doing Lonesome Train and the same 5 songs in every single band. And
well, and as a touring guy, on the road, I run into local bands sometimes, several times over the years. And, bless their hearts, but there's bands out there that are playing the same 15 tunes that they were playing 20 years ago. And they're talking Blue Suede Shoes and things like that. I don't knock anybody for doing their thing. If it puts a smile on their face, that's great. But personally, I don't understand how you could do that and not want to run your head into a brick wall.
Well, I think one of the things as well is I agree with you. I have great respect for anyone who picks up an instrument. I think that is a fabulous thing to do. And if you choose to do mainstream rock and roll, that's great. But it's not really my interest, and it's definitely not yours as an artist.
Absolutely.
And I think we have to be very careful right now because they're putting nails in the coffin. And with people like yourself, there's a little scene. There's lots of really great bands, but there's interesting people, I think, like you, TJ Mays.
I love TJ.
Sebastian Bordeaux.
Sebastian's great.
There's a whole batch of artists who are not playing what would be seen as traditional rockabilly music, but is contemporary rockabilly, rock and roll music. And I think, and there's lots of more artists, I just named a couple there that comes to mind, but that's what we need to see more of.
I agree. And people like the guys you mentioned, they got their own slant on it. It's a little something I haven't heard before. That gets me excited. You know, that I long for that moment when you put a record on and that the hair stands up on your neck and you get goosebumps. And guys like those guys and some of there's some new acts now that come around, and when I hear that stuff, I'm just like, okay, this is what I loved about the old things, and this is what I'm looking for in the new stuff.
Yeah, and I do think we have to say that we're not excluding anyone in our conversation, but you know, we can't name everybody who's doing.
I'm a record nerd
thing.
as much as you, so if we started trying to name favorites, I'm sure that would be
we can't do that. And we're going
10-part episode. Yeah,
and we're going to leave people out, and then somebody's always going to be sort of offended, and there's nothing we can do about that.
Right.
You know, so we can just try. We can try to point out who we like.
Certainly.
Hey Eddie, I was thinking this morning. You know, I'm one of those early risers. I was lying in bed about 5 o'clock. And I was looking forward to seeing you as usual. And I thought, I've got to get Eddie to tell the Hayden Thompson story, the disastrous story.
Oh,
because myself and Eddie were very good friends of Hayden's.
Loved Hayden.
And when he died, we had a little conversation and a little tear, you know. And Eddie reminded me of a sad thing that happened. And it does cause sadness because he was so great. But tell the story, Eddie, because it was pretty sad.
Yeah, I hate to. I'm not gonna say who they are. I don't want to drag their names through the dirt. But it was a show in New York. It was a big thing, and two of my favorites, Hayden Thompson and Gene Summers.
Oh wow! Yeah.
You know, I have the band in New York at the time when I was living there, all put together, and so I offered my services. I said, I know Hayden and Gene both. I know their tunes. Let me know if they need a backing band. Mm-hmm. And I was told, no, we have a band that's going to do it. They're all set. Oh, great. So now I can go and enjoy the show. Fun. I'm down with that. So I finished my show that I was doing, and I ran over there as fast as I could. And I showed up to a bunch of kind of confused-looking people in the crowd, and Hayden Thompson on stage with a band that didn't know his songs at all. Yeah. Not even a little bit. And there's a video on YouTube of some of it, but what ended up happening, the guitar player, I think, had a string broke, and he couldn't get it fixed in time. So I grabbed it. I went back. I put a string on it real quick for him. And then when I tried to hand it back to him, he was just kind of like, so I went out, and Hayden said, you know, Eddie, come out here and help me. And so I think we did he was already playing Folsom Prison or something, so we did that. And then he was trying to get out of there. Yeah. And I said, no, and I started playing, Love My Baby, you know. And the minute I started playing that, he kind of turned around and he was like, all right.
He picked up, yeah.
Went into it. The guitar was still a little wonky, but so I did that. And in the process of me doing that, a guy named Derek from the audience, he jumped up, he took the bass away from the bass player. Right. So he started playing. And then another guy who had backed up Hayden before had gotten up and sort of slid the young lady off the drums. So through the course of the song, it gets better and better. By the end of the song, we're really going, boy. And so I'm glad that we at least got to send Hayden off on a high note, but it was so sad and disrespectful for someone that I revere so much. And I don't think that they did it intentionally. I just think their chops weren't up to the task, you know, and they bit off more than they could chew and then freaked out the young guys. And but Hayden didn't deserve that. He was sure mad. And
I know about it because I would spend time with Hayden,
you
know, and I go to Chicago and I'd stay at Hayden's house, and my son is named after Hayden Thompson, so we're very close. But I'd sit in Hayden's house and have dinner with him, and he would say, that Eddie Clendening, he's a good guy, because it meant so much to him, because, you know, he had quite a lot of misfortunes where he'd get to Europe or whatever, and the band was shit. Right. And that was one of the worst ones, because I think, if I remember rightly, am I right in that Omar was in New York? Oh no, that was Chicago, wasn't it? Was that Chicago or New York?
That was Chicago.
It was Chicago. Yeah. I don't know why I thought that some of the wild bands were in the audience, but I think I'm mixing that up.
Oh, that particular show was, I thought you were saying when I saw Omar. No, that was in New York, that show. There was some of the wild guys there. Yeah. I do distinctly remember talking to a few people afterwards and thinking, like, we could have made a killer band out of, for him. But I'll tell one more quick story, because it wasn't the first time that something like that had happened. And one of the sort of sparks for me to pick up the lead guitar was I was still in my teens. I went to a thing. It was a documentary about Louisiana music, and it was featuring a live performance by Dale Hawkins after the movie. And I thought, wow, I'm going to go see Dale Hawkins. Okay, it's in this little malt shop in a movie theater. And so I got there. It was me and about three other people. And Dale comes in with the band that had been hired for him that day from the music school in town. And I requested some songs, and he's eking his way through stuff. And I didn't understand musically kind of what was going on at that time, but he apologized afterwards to me. He came right up to me. He said, "I'm so sorry. I'd love to play those songs, but this." And he explained everything. And just being a young, cocky little punk, I was like, "Well, I'll tell you what. Next time you come to town, you let me know, and I'll play for you." It was just some aside I threw out there. Yeah. And damned if he didn't call me to play guitar for him. So I got to learn real quick. So I sat down and figured that out, and then the rest was that. And I got to work with Dale a bunch and stuff. But it was the same thing of like seeing someone that meant so much to me kind of get disrespected in that way. And I thought, well, no, not while I'm here. That ain't cool.
Yeah, I was fortunate. I worked with Dale and Joe Clay and Gene Summers, all of those
great
guys. And they had a hard time, because there were times that they went, turn up at a show, and then there's some absolute shit band who had no idea what they were doing. And I think that's why I go back to Hayden Thompson, because why not? Being around Hayden, I always felt the sadness that came from him, because he was such a great singer, and even up to the time he died was a great singer. And there always felt like a sadness that he knew he was good.
There are some of those guys from the 50s that I've gotten to work with over the years that they got a little bit of that bitterness in there. And you know them from their old records and stuff. You're like, well, you weren't exactly the most marketable. I can see why you didn't have the number one, but Hayden had all the goods. He was a tall, handsome, good-looking guy. He wrote great songs. He had a great presence, great voice, unbelievable voice. Yeah. And when he used to do the shows on the piano, and he could sing any song in any key. Just amazing, remarkable guy. He's one of the guys. Him and I think Billy Lee Riley is another one whose gripe I think was pretty legitimate. I mean, he could have. Both of those guys could have easily been on the charts.
And they should have been. Sadly, even Hayden later with the country stuff, the great country stuff he did.
I love all that stuff.
Yeah, that's great.
1688. I was listening to that in the car on the way here.
Oh wow,
great tune.
That's great. So, going back, so we met very early on. You were doing the Blue Ribbon Boys stuff, and then you remained based in Denver for quite a long time.
Yeah, my folks are all still back there, and that's home. I moved out of Denver in 2008. I got hired in a musical, the $1 Million Quartet. That took me to Chicago and New York and Milwaukee.
And how long did that run for? How long were you involved in that? A couple of years?
I worked with the show on and off for about 5 years. I did the Chicago version, and then when it transferred to New York, I did the full run of Broadway, which 2.5 years. Canada and Japan, and then that was it for me. And then, here and there I've gone back and done it again if a friend's directing it or so. A lot of the guys I work with now are old enough to where they're directing their own versions of it because it's in repertory. So I'll go do that again once in a while for fun. But I play Johnny Cash now instead of Elvis because my knees hurt. So I tell them no.
That was a good business move.
Yeah, it got me out of Denver, and it put me in some cities where I got to play with a lot of really talented and different musicians, and it took me out of my comfort zone, which was, I think, as a performer, one of the best things that happened to me.
Yeah, that's great. Because you do a lot of work, because you're in LA at the moment doing session work.
Yeah.
And you do a lot of session work.
I do. I love recording. I love messing with the, equipment and trying out sounds and just working on songs with people, taking nothing, and by the end of the day you got something. That's great. The live thing's always going to be the main, that feeds my soul. But in the studio I can be a nerd and like really get into all the dumb stuff that I like. That bores the crowd.
Well, but you're very good at what you do, which is great, and it's why you're in so much demand.
Well, and I genuinely do enjoy trying to make other people's stuff better. I don't, I don't, I don't really. I have my own project, and that feeds my ego. And so when I get to just sit back and work on a tune for somebody else, I love that just as much. I think that's kind of when I learn the most and grow the most as a musician.
Yeah, I mean, it's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been very busy. We were recording
the way you
yesterday.
work with the artists too is, same kind of idea. I've seen the way you kind of work through their songs with them and stuff. And yeah, you just help people get a better product. Because sometimes, even for me, when I'm working on a song for too long, you get stuck, you get too far up your own ass. You need somebody to look at it and say, no, you're overcomplicating it, or, you're making this too difficult on yourself.
Well, I think for me personally, what I bring to the table is I'm not a musician. And I think that really helps. In the studio, it really helps.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes musicians...
Well, you're leading with your tastes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. And musicians sometimes, no matter what a guitar player says, or a bass player says, or a drummer, or even a singer, they're always going to listen a little bit more to what they do.
Absolutely.
And they find it very hard to let go of things. My job with the label is to push it and say, okay, let go.
Yeah, and the stuff that we love, it was recorded, mostly live, very few opportunities to do fixes and overdubs. They could cut tape and things, but I mean, you listen to the Nashville A-Team and you'll find clams on sessions. There's little mistakes, but what this music is about, and country music and blues music and all that, it's about the humanity of it. So you need a human playing it. You can't have perfection.
Yeah.
Otherwise it doesn't sound right. It doesn't work. It sounds homogenized and sterile, and it's boring. I don't like that at all. A lot of the computer polish that goes on things, I want to hear the sweat and the blood.
Yeah,
and the
it
toil,
rubs. It's true. It rubs away the edges.
Yeah.
And I know you are too. We're lovers of soul music.
Absolutely.
And we're not talking about just the genre.
Yeah.
But I mean, how we record is how you record that. The takes do not have to be perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect take.
Well, to that word soul, I find there's soul in country music.
Of course.
I think there's soul in jazz music. There's soul in, classical music. That's the humanity of music. That's the connection, right? I think a lot of us picked up instruments and guitars because we didn't really know how to relate to people.
Yeah.
And that's where the soul comes out. We're just trying to connect.
Yeah. That's the magic of music. I mean, music is, to me, is like a picture. I reference things with records, with songs.
Yeah, I do the same.
And I think if I'm traveling, any city I've ever gone to, I bought a record.
The worst habit I have is someone will be telling me a story, and while they're telling the story, a song that fits kind of the story will pop into my head, and I'll start humming it to myself while they're telling the story. Yeah. Even sometimes when it's a sad story, I don't mean to be that. It's maybe some autism or something. I can't help it, but the little radio clicks on, and
Yeah. We're what's called human jukeboxes.
That's right.
And on that subject, maybe another song.
Another
Did you do another one? Another
sure.
one too?
So I'll do it. This one, I didn't write all of it. I worked. It's an old song that I felt maybe could be massaged and reworked. I'll try and do it, but it's one I want to record on the next record, and it's a little different than the other one. Called "Walk Another Mile." So let's see. It's after midnight, can't sleep no more. Thought I heard a cry, thought I heard my baby cry, just outside my door. Guess I'm dreaming, it was me who cried. If I keep on dreaming, I'll take these dreams outside, and I'll walk for a while. I'll walk down a lonely mile. If that won't do, I'll walk another mile or two. I see him coming down the aisle, and as she passes me, all the people see how hard I try to smile. I can't leave despite my pride. But if I keep on dreaming, I'll take my pride outside, and I'll walk for a while. I'll walk down the lonely mile. And if that won't do, I'll walk another mile or two. My friends are talking, and I heard them say, oh, poor man, I wonder how he can just watch her walk away. My tears I hide to save my pride, but if I keep on dreaming, gonna take my tears outside, and I'll walk for a while. I'll walk down a lonely mile, and if that won't do, I'll walk another mile or two.
That's fabulous.
Thank you.
That's really fabulous.
Appreciate that.
Love it, really love it. So you're going to record that?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Put a little steel guitar on it.
Yeah.
Nice and moody. But
Yeah.
I love that song.
That's fantastic.
Cheers.
Really dig it. Really dig it. You know, we're in the infancy putting together the new Lookout for this year.
right,
We're going to
yeah.
do a big one.
That was so much fun.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I loved you doing it. And
Thanks for having me along.
Well,
Actually, always when you guys do those things, I always appreciate having me along. You put me in on Viva Las Vegas when I was persona non grata over there, and I
Yeah.
sure do appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know, you've
Yeah.
always had my back. I appreciate you.
You
But
weren't welcome at that time.
oh yeah, but
we insisted.
We'll leave that for episode 2. We
Yeah,
can
yeah.
talk about that. Yeah.
But yeah, the Lookout was a great thing, and I loved your performance. And you know, the Lookout does lean a little bit more towards a lot of our female singers.
Yeah.
I'm not sure
But-
why, but
Well, you have a strong roster. That's the problem.
we have great female
Yeah.
singers. So, but the you know, as we move forward with the Lookout, because there is going to be an album and everything, obviously we would want you to be one of our main male singers.
We got to get that "So Long I'm Gone" on there that
Absolutely.
we cut that time.
Yeah, great. Unfortunately, we had recorded some stuff with Eddie that disintegrated in the fire.
It was too hot.
Yeah,
It was just too hot.
It was too hot. We had that session that you did with the Bell Furies in the studio. You remember that?
Yeah, and actually, we cut a song that Mike Molnar had written that day, and I called you up and asked you if we could come and use the studio, and you were nice enough to let us do that. A song called "Lordy Loud Nights," and then that sat around for years and years, and because of that recording, me and Mike were talking, and we decided to do a full album. So that song, we re-recorded everything, but that song and a bunch of other songs that he wrote and that I put together with him are going to be out soon. We got the whole album done.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's really good. Because there were many stingers in the fire, you know. But
Absolutely, yeah.
we had that. What was that? That '60s Carl Perkins song.
"So Long I'm Gone."
Wow, yeah, that is just so fucking good. I mean, that's something that we want to release.
Yeah, we'll
with
get
you.
that one.
We want to do
We'll
that.
get that one in for sure.
And I remember we had a version as well of that, "Asleep at the Wheel." My baby thinks she's a train.
Yep.
We did that also, which is great.
Yeah.
Great session that was lost.
You hipped me to the version of that we kind of based ours off of. Amazing. Yeah. And I play that in my live show every night.
And you know what? There's many valuable records that were lost for me personally. But that "Asleep at the Wheel" one, I've never seen another copy. Mine was a test pressing.
I got one. I'll
you
find
did?
one for you.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah, Out on the Road. Because
Yeah.
that's one of my favorites. That's really
I think
great.
it was only a UK release. That's
Okay.
why it's tricky to find. Yeah.
So that'd be great. So we did lose some good stuff. But, you know, for me personally, with our own interaction this year, we would love to do that Carl Perkins thing
count me
again.
in. Absolutely,
We'll
yeah.
get together in that. And
That's a threat for everyone
yeah,
watching.
so watch out for something from Eddie Clendening
Look
on
out.
Wild Records.
Look out, as they say.
Yeah, so we'll do that again, and then obviously
Yeah.
with the Lookout, and we're going to record that album and everything else. I am thinking that we should do the Lookout thing as a live record. And,
That would be cool. That
yeah.
would be really cool.
I'd like to try that as a live record.
Get some crowd noise in there. And get
Yeah.
the party atmosphere
We'd have to
going.
pay people about $500 each just to come.
I don't know, with your crowd, you might have to pay them to shut up.
Yeah, that is the problem. That is so. Right now, as we said, you're in LA and you're playing a lot with the country singer
Gray Delisle.
Gray Delisle.
Yeah.
You're doing a lot of stuff there. But the band is still playing.
The Blue Ribbon Boys is a trio. We work all the time too. Gray Delisle, she's mostly known for cartoon voiceover work. Daphne on Scooby-Doo, Azula on The Last Airbender. She's on The Simpsons. There's a bunch of stuff, but she writes amazing, great songs, very clever. And she got a great voice, obviously. That's her bread and butter.
Yeah.
So we started working together during the pandemic on a kids record. I always wanted to, kind of the anti-Baby Shark. I want to make a song or a record for kids that, rock and roll stuff.
Yeah.
Get them excited about Bo Diddley and things, Buddy Holly and things like that.
Yeah.
And she was right in there with me. So we put that project together, and it went so well, so smooth. We had DJ Bonebreak and Carl Sonny Leland. I mean, we had so many great people on it. And so we said, well, she's like, I got more songs, and we just started working together. And it's just been going so smooth. It turned into, hey, do you guys want to start coming out on the road? She does all the Comic-Cons and signings and stuff. So when she's in a town, we'll go link up with her and back her up and a little, book a country venue or something.
But you're still doing your own sets,
Absolutely.
of course, which is great. Because I know you've got some dates in Europe coming up.
Mm-hmm. We'll be in Ireland for the first time and the Netherlands again. And we'll be all over.
Yeah, that's great. When is that? I know that we helped a little bit with Ireland.
It's a good question. I'm an idiot without my date
June
book.
or
I'm
July?
one of those guys. It's I think the end of May, or no, it's May. The end of April through May, basically, I think, and then just the very first part of June.
Oh, okay. So you'll be in Holland. Eddie will be in Holland.
I should have better. But if you get on the web and eddieclendening.com, all that stuff gets put up there.
But for people in Ireland, Eddie will be playing at the Thomas House in Dublin.
That's right.
We're hoping that we can secure that show in Belfast as well.
Oh, so thank you for the help with that, too.
We've got some feelers out for that.
Awesome.
So you're busy with Gray, and you have that album coming out.
Yeah.
So, and the band continue, of course. So
yeah,
that's really good.
absolutely.
That's good. Okay, so I think we're going to wind down.
Yeah.
Anything else coming up that we didn't mention that would be useful to?
No, honestly, I've got, there is actually a Gray Delisle thing coming out that is pretty cool. We got invited by John Carter Cash, Johnny Cash's son, to go record at the Cash Cabin, which was a cabin Johnny built, and then they turned it into a recording studio. So we got to go out there, and man, they just opened up the vault and I got to play a bunch of Johnny's guitars.
Oh, wow.
Mother Maybell's Stromberg, just amazing instruments. But we cut a bunch of songs in Spanish. So Gray's grandmother was a singer with Tito Puente back in the day.
Cool.
So she has a sort of a background in, growing up singing those boleros and stuff with her grandma. And so she wanted to do some of those. So we cut some Spanish stuff. And I think that'll be out over the summer, too.
Okay.
I don't have her release schedule, but
it'll be out in the summer.
That's coming down the pike, too.
Okay, that's good. So like I said, we will be working together.
Absolutely, always.
Later in the year to do that new 45.
And you know me, I'm always you always need when you need a guitar guy or anybody else, I'm always there for you.
Yeah, we know that, so we really appreciate it.
Cheers.
Eddie, you're a very good friend of mine, and
I love you, buddy.
I'm really glad you came in and did the talk. This is one of my favorite people in the world. His name is Eddie Clendening, and he gets really mad when I mispronounce his fucking name.
Oh, that's
because it's an awkward name.
You should see the ways I've seen it butchered. But I get mad at you because you're not that far over from Scotland. You should be able to figure it out.
I know. Eddie Clendening, he's got a busy year in 2026, and check out the new releases from Eddie and the stuff that he's on with Gray and anything you can get your hands on. It's always good from Eddie Clendening. And
I'll just say hello to the rest of the Wild family since I get to hang with Reb. I'll see you guys out on the road or at a show sometime. I love all you guys, and thanks for having me.
Thank you, Eddie.
Thanks for having me be a
Much
part
appreciated.
of it. Cheers, brother.
Thank you, guys. And cut.